So I want to welcome you to two of the very best performing projects of the early stage crypto bull run. Many of you already know my opinion about Solana and the SOL token, SOL. In the last cycle, I was a big fan of Solana. Certainly my faith was tested after its all-time high of about $260 and the ensuing crash all the way down to $8. But it's certainly been the comeback kid of crypto, and I think a lot of other projects can look to everything that they've done in terms of their success story and learn quite a bit. But as much as I love SOL, it needs to be said that there is a new kid on the layer 1 block, and it stands a chance to emulate what Solana did in 2021 during the previous bull run, when SOL went from about $3.50 to $260, or the equivalent of about a 74 times run. Say hello to SUI. SUI, which is up over 100% in the last 30 days. It's had a spectacular run, especially in September. And it's not stopping anytime soon, in my opinion. Currently, it sits just about 20% below its all-time high. And it really does seem destined to have a spectacular 2024-2025 bull run. So much so that it may even pose a threat to Solana, the comeback kid of crypto. We're going to analyze the matchup in this video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest into SUI, into Solana, any other altcoin, what have you. If you're in this space, I wish you well. Just remember that I'm not a financial or investment advisor, and that means that this video by extension is not official financial or investment advice. So let's start with the comparison of SUI and Solana and stack them up from a wide perspective. To begin with, SUI and Solana are both layer 1 chains. Now, Solana has been around since March 2020. It's named after Solana Beach. A little bit of trivia for you. This is located in San Diego County. On the other hand, SUI launched a little bit later, quite a bit later actually. Its token premiered in April 2023. Also, its mainnet in April 2023. And SUI means water in Japanese. SUI has a different technical setup as compared with Solana. And it all starts with their coding language, which is Move, M-O-V-E. This dates back to when the SUI team still worked at Meta. It was part of the now defunct Diem blockchain development team. That's basically the whole currency that Facebook/Meta was trying to create. And that's where the Move language originates from, actually. Aptos is another chain that uses this programming language. However, it's still different compared to SUI. And so this allows for a completely different technical architecture of the SUI chain. For example, the SUI chain has an object-centric nature. It uses objects, meaning that you don't need smart contracts to track ownership, actually. And these objects also have clear attributes. For example, it defines ownership. And as an object owner, you're in direct control of your objects, which store data. Now, this is especially interesting for NFTs or tokens. And if you want to know more about the SUI objects, we have an article about them that's available on altcoinbuzz.io. Check that out. I'll link to it below. But another important part of the architecture that I want to discuss here is the parallel transaction execution. This allows a network to process many transactions at the same time. And as a result, it is much faster when compared to linear standards like Solana. Back in May, SUI launched Misty SETI. This is an upgrade to its consensus mechanism. And among other things, it made transactions much faster. It actually reduced latency to 390 milliseconds, meaning that transactions are effectively instant. Not to be outdone, however, Solana was also busy. They launched the Fire Dancer upgrade. This was all about making Solana more decentralized. SUI now has a theoretical 297,000 transactions per second, TPS. Whereas Solana can currently reach 65,000 TPS. Still very impressive, but not as high. However, Fire Dancer does have the potential to reach an upward TPS ceiling for Solana of 1 million TPS. So is Solana about to be outdone here? Is it about to become a second banana of sorts? I would say that's very unlikely. First of all, it has an established and very lively ecosystem. Like I said, it's been around since 2020. And therefore, it does have an advantage over SUI in terms of the number of projects in its ecosystem, if nothing else, just by virtue of the fact that it's been around for extra years. Solana has around 2,000 coins and probably more projects in its ecosystem, whereas SUI, by contrast, as the, let's call it, new kid on the block, has almost 90 projects in its ecosystem, far fewer. It has 53 coins listed as being inside that same ecosystem, also far fewer. So no wonder when looking at the age of each ecosystem, 4 years makes a big difference over one. We should also remember that Solana has 2 ETFs coming up in Brazil. However, both do still need to get approved by the stock exchange. On the other hand, SUI has an ETP in Europe with 21 shares. You can find it on the Amsterdam and Paris exchanges. And Grayscale has started a SUI trust, which has been performing very well so far. Nothing has been approved yet in the US, but if that were to happen, certainly it would be a big deal. Now, of course, it's no surprise that Solana has a thriving DeFi and meme coin ecosystem. In DeFi, Solana has a TVL, as we can see here, of $5.502 billion. Let's call that $5.5 billion. It takes the third spot as measured by TVL, total value locked. But that being said, SUI already is coming in at the number 8 spot with nearly $1 billion in TVL. However, just to temper that, keep in mind that SUI did gain almost 65% of that TVL over the course of the last 30 or so days, whereas Solana only gained about 11% more over that same period of time. It's true that SUI's DeFi ecosystem is small, but that's fine. It only has 40 DeFi projects compared to Solana's 164. SUI's current top DeFi protocols are Navi protocol, NAVX, Cetus, that's CETUS, and Scallop, ticker SCA. These are also 3 coins to follow closely, by the way. They're doing pretty well as of late. Solana's top projects, by contrast, are Jito, Camino, and Jupiter, which, to be fair, are another 3 coins that should be on your radar.
And so if this market pulls back hard under this level and then consolidates and comes back, we're likely to sell and stall.
Now, the current price of SUI sits, as I record, at $1.75 with a market cap of $4.69 billion. However, and it pains me to say this, but out of the 10 billion max and total supply of SUI, we only have 2.7 billion that are in circulation, so 27%. That is a weak point, certainly. SUI still has plenty of token unlocks to come, and that is the kind of thing that we advise against, that we look out for. It's not a deal breaker per se, but it's not a good statistic. The unlocks are coming up in early October. You can look out for that one. There's going to be a 64.19 million SUI token unlock pretty soon, early October. The current price of SOL, SOL, is $156.49 with a $73.4 billion market cap. That's pretty huge. However, SOL has an unlimited supply. There's a 585 million total supply and 468 million SOL in circulation. But again, the supply is infinite. The max supply is unlimited. So also not good. So candidly, I can say that these tokenomics are not the greatest. In fact, every day there's a nearly 75,000 SOL emission, which, if you convert to current rates, is over $11 million per day. But with that in mind, let's consider the growth potential here. Solana currently has a market cap of about 16 times SUI's, and so SUI would need to do a 16x in order to get to the same overall value. Okay, however, in the bull run, Solana will also grow. We have to keep that in mind. Let's consider a new all-time high at $300. That would give it approximately twice its current market cap and would also represent a new all-time high. So I actually see much more potential for SUI here to grow at least 16 times versus SOL. It's just the mathematics of a lower market cap, right? It's more possible, it's more nimble, it's more agile as a smaller project. SUI's still a big project, but comparatively to Solana, it's a smaller one. So to sum up, Solana is still on top of the battle, let's call it. It's still winning. It's bigger in all kinds of ways, not only its tokenomics and price and market cap, but its ecosystem and its established nature in the space. It is bigger. SOL is bigger. However, SUI has the momentum right now. SUI won't be dethroning Solana during this bull run, not as I see it. However, it may well be the Solana, if you will, of 2024, 2025, in the same way that SOL performed in 2020 and 2021. SUI is going to be making waves, it's going to be making big moves, and it's going to be growing aggressively. It is still young, and it has to prove a thing or two. It's eager to do so. So I could see SUI easily entering the top 20 market caps by crypto rank on CoinGecko or any other site that you may use. Don't be surprised if it even dips into the top 10 at some point. I'm a big fan of SUI. There's a lot going for it as a project fundamentally, and it's been doing very well even in this kind of pre-bull market run-up. I think if we extrapolate, it's going to continue to do very well. Does it have the ingredients to dethrone Solana? If not in this cycle, this bull cycle, maybe in a future one? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below.